the lead today is something that Sylvie said on Waddle and Sylvie. This took place yesterday. We talked not just now, but throughout the season about the infrastructure of the Bears when it comes to Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles. What's their relationship and what's the power structure? Now, we know the titles. We know that Ryan Poles is general manager and Kevin Warren is the president. But as they look for this new head coach for the Bears, what is the structure? Who will be able to have the final say? Kevin Warren said the last press conference that it is Ryan Poles' GM. Do we believe that? That's the question.
Yeah, I believe that Kevin's going to have more say than he may have indicated there. That in the end, he goes, I don't think it'll come down to it, but in the end, if it's Ryan's choice, I hope that's accurate. Because he's the football guy. If you don't want him as your football guy, you're the president. You and George have that right. Pay the man his money and let him go. But if you're going to let him do the job, then let him do the job. Period. Whatever that job is. Done. That's the guy I want. Mike Vrabel, let's call it him.
Yeah.
Then whatever it costs, write the check and get out of Vrabel and Poles' way. Period.
Yes. Let the football people make the football decisions.
Correct.
There's a reason why the Kevin Warren was brought in is because he has experience in trying to help foster and build a new stadium. It happened with the Vikings. That's the stadium they're in right now. And so the Bears are also looking for a new stadium, whether it's going to be in Chicago or Arlington Heights, whatever. Kevin Warren is supposed to preside over it. If it wasn't Kevin, it would have been Ted. Ted Phillips would have been able to be presiding over it.
Correct.
So, but my understanding, Cap, at least from my standpoint, is that I understand that Ryan Poles is the GM, but he's got to answer to people in the building, like George McCaskey, like Kevin Warren, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's going to be times that you're going to work with people you don't want to work with every day, that you want to see, because you just want to do your job. However, there's a reason why there's a structure in place. Here at Good Karma and any other really great company, there's always an org chart, someone that you need to be able to talk to. You don't run your own thing. It's others that you got to work with because you work as a team. It's the only way that the lights are still on in this place is because we work as a team.
Correct.
Or any good company, you have to work with people. It's like, you know what? We see the world differently, but we got to work together to make this work together. And so let's hear from Sylvie, from Waddle and Sylvie, on Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren and that dynamic.
The other information that was interesting to me was one of the main reasons that Ryan Poles took the Bears job was because he liked the direct reporting nature to the team owner. It was very appetizing to him as a general manager to report directly to ownership. There was no buffer. If he had an issue, he can go right to George, right to ownership. And that when Kevin Warren was hired, he was frustrated with that from the start, that he never loved it. It was not a personal thing with Kevin, but it was something that he didn't like, that he went from reporting to the owner to now having to report to a team president who reports to the owner. There was a go-between. And he was very vocal about that to people he trusted inside the building, that maybe he never would have taken the job to begin with. So now with his not exactly building the team up like he should be, maybe with some of the trust gone of picking the right coach, and maybe with his trust of the organization and not being totally satisfied, this is a theory. This isn't a known thing. I wouldn't be shocked, again, if by the end of the year there's a mutual parting of the ways.
There you go. That's Sylvie's report yesterday, and I absolutely think that there's validity there. I do. If you came in and you're reporting to that guy and now somebody's put between you, I don't think that makes Poles happy.
Yeah, but I still think that if I'm in his position, Cap, I'm still doing the job. I'm the general manager. Just because something is different than what it was 12 months ago, 24 months ago, doesn't mean that you can't still build this team.
It depends. If you could still do the job, but if you're being told how to do the job and, nope, we're hiring that coach and it's not the coach that he wants, then he should walk.
I would not do that. I would not do that. There's a reason why that he came up through the Kansas City system, because at some point he wanted to be a general manager of a team. And this, I don't know if that's his dream. I have not talked to him to that extent to find out what his dream job is. But to preside over one of these teams in the NFL, for me, that would be a dream job, to be the general manager. Kevin Warren just saying, hey, I'd like to know what's going on with the organization because look at what's been going on. It's been a losing organization. It has been. Since you've taken over, we haven't seen the team over 500. Kevin Warren has every right to be able to at least ask questions.
Don't disagree. But if he's saying who we're hiring and not Ryan, that's a different discussion.
That's a big if also.
Again, we don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
But if we find out that Kevin's the one making the choice, not Ryan, then Ryan should walk. Rick Hahn should have walked away. When they hired La Russa, he should have quit. And I think if he could do it again, I would bet you he would have.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not made of that metal. I would not walk away from a dream job just because things have changed. I still have to be able to assemble a roster. I've got Caleb Williams on the team. I've got DJ Moore on the team. I've got a few cornerstones here, and I don't want to just turn away from a job just because the president of the football team wants to find out or have a say in who the head coach is going to be. Ultimately, it should be on Ryan. He should be the general manager and should be able to make the final call. And I actually believe that he will. I know that this is great conversation, and we heard from Sylvie there, but I actually believe that Ryan Poles will have the say of who the head coach is going to be. Kevin Warren, and again, this is not new news because we heard that Kevin Warren wanted to at least be more involved or at least find out what's going on. Instead of just being separate from everything and just focus on the stadium, he wants to know every bit of the Chicago Bears. And he has the right to because he's the president of the team. He should find out what's going on. If he makes the final call of the head coach, though, okay, now we have a discussion. I still wouldn't walk away, though. I wouldn't. Because no matter who the coach is, I got to put a roster together. It's my responsibility that our offensive line stinks. That's on me as a general manager. You put Coleman Shelton on, and what I want is a center that's going to be aligned with Caleb Williams for the next decade, not a guy from AM/PM. Seriously, Coleman Shelton. I mean, he's like a turnstile out there at times. I want structure on the offensive line and on the defensive line, and that's on Ryan Poles. I'm not leaving just because if Kevin Warren says I'll choose the coach. Actually, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Kevin Warren wants to have his beak in there, but not to the extent where he makes the final decision. I don't think so. I do not. And also, I would not leave, Cap. Leave.
So if you were Rick Hahn, you wouldn't have left?
No.
Yeah, I would have.
No.
I'd have walked out the door.
Absolutely not. Easy to cut and run. Because a guy like me, I don't know when my next opportunity is. It's two Americas in that regard, because for me, I don't know if I'm going to get another bite of the apple. For Rick Hahn, he's not in baseball right now, but at some point he'll resurface.
Yep.
And he might be a general manager again. What he can do, and we've talked about this before, when you're on the other side of the desk, you tell the person that's hiring, here are the dynamics that happen. And actually, if you're a good baseball president or the person that's leading the charge for a new GM, you already know what happened with the White Sox. You already know on the other side of the desk, don't you?
You do.
Oh, Tony La Russa. Oh, yeah, Jerry hired Tony. How was that? You already know what happened. So, I mean, for a guy like me, I don't know if I'll have a second chance. If I'm Ryan Poles, I don't know if you're going to have a second chance to be a GM. But now, take the opportunity you have right now and build this roster.
Yeah, I'd have to know I had the ability to do that, and we don't know yet. We'll find out.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I would not do an opportunity to be a general manager. I'm not just quitting because, and this again, this is a big if. We're not reporting that this is happening. You heard what Sylvie's report was, but from my standpoint, I'm not walking away from a job that's a dream job just because someone else is in the middle of me and George. What?
Isn't part of the problem, too, like, GMs don't get rehired. It's one thing for a coach to walk away. Like, I think Vrabel kind of was sick of what was going on in Tennessee, but he's going to get hired again. If you're a GM, I think there's only one guy of the 32 jobs right now who was a GM previously, and that's because the Raiders don't like to pay top shelf prices for their general managers.
Look, Charlie, I told my story already in the 7 o'clock hour. For those that didn't hear it, now, I'm working with Doug Buffone in Afternoon Drive, and everything I think is going well. All of a sudden, the general manager decides to bring Rick Tellender into the afternoon show. Now, I go from the number one guy with Doug to being the third guy. The dynamic changed. Should I have quit? Didn't quit. Continue to work. Then from there, not only having one meeting, but two meetings, one with the general manager, one with the program director, every day for 7 months. Every day. And they're both telling me something different. Should I have quit? Because the dynamic changed on the show? Absolutely not. It's still, money aside, it's still about pride and work ethic. And if you're Ryan Poles, because Kevin, and again, we don't know that Kevin Warner will make the final decision on the head coach. With his involvement in it, there's nothing wrong with that, to be able to be in the room. But ultimately, it's on Ryan. What if and I think it's going to be Ryan's decision.
What if Ryan said, and I'm not saying he ever would, but what if he said to you, dude, I'm being micromanaged on everything here. It's not what I signed up for. Then he should walk. I would.
Yeah. Well, it's easy for some. It's not easy for me. It's not that cut and dry for me. It's not. I have a job to do. And if you want to fire me, you can fire me. But I got a job to do. So the idea that, well, it's not what I signed up for, so I'll just leave. Don't you still have to general manage the team? Yeah, but there's someone in the middle, and that's not how it was when I first signed up. Well, screw that. Either do the job or leave. Go ahead. I don't think that's in Ryan Poles' DNA. I could be wrong, but I don't believe it is.
Yeah, maybe not. I just go back to the Rick Hahn example. You built a team, and then you're told that 77-year-old guy's your manager. What? No. I'm hiring this guy. No, you're not. He should have walked out the door because it ended up spiraling down the drain. It cost him his job. He should have walked out the door. Said that, hey, thanks for the opportunity. It's not what I signed up for. Out.
I wouldn't have left that either. I'm the general manager of the Chicago White Sox. Now, here's the reason why I would have left. What I would have left is not because of La Russa. I would have left because of Kenny Williams, because now, even being underneath Kenny, side by side by Kenny, I was never the general manager anyway. How about them apples? That's when I would have left, Cap. Like, so we're both doing the same job. Here's the players I want to bring, and the guy next to me has his own set of rules. Well, who's the GM? That's different because they're doing the same job, Kenny and Rick. That doesn't work. There's no co-GMs. That's ridiculous. But it was. There's a reason to say, I just want to be the GM of the team, period. To me, that's different with the White Sox dynamic because the White Sox or the Reinsdorf regime, Bulls and White Sox, it was like Noah's Ark, two of everything. Right? It's like what's happening now with the Bulls now. AK is the general manager, and Eversley there too.
AK is, I think now, what is he executive? I think he's executive VP, and he made Eversley the GM. So who does make the draft pick? We're taking Jonathan Hood from UIC. No, we're not. I mean, how does that all get worked out?
That's the thing. That's the thing. And I know that Kevin Warren's not going to be in the draft room making picks, and if he is, then, boy, you're really in trouble. Really in trouble. 312-332-ESPN, 332-3776 our phone number. So you heard Sylvie's report. We want to hear your thoughts on what Sylvie had to say yesterday. I heard it live. Cap heard it live. So we wanted to bring it to you just in case you missed it. So we want to talk to you about the Bears as we keep you company here until 10 o'clock right here on Kap and J Hood.